Shut up and sit down.
Summer. It's a perfect time for cycling. And this year, it's better than ever.
Riding downtown on my bicycle too fast. I really hope I don't crash or fall, 'cause I might see you. When you're laughing, you're loving with somebody new, and you might see me when I'm rolling downtown in my misery.
You magnificent people are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Matt Legrand, Evan Price, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von Turing. Now that Chris Froome has some free time on his hands, he just might be listening along with you too. Here is a little double entendre for you to chew on. To achieve longevity, you will have cycles. No one gets there in one straight shot. Have a great day.
It should not be so damn hot that I'm up here having dreams about me being on fire.
Hi, and welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I'm Jake Von Turing. Today I'm here with Lance Hepler.
Lance Romance in studio.
He is here, and he is in studio.
I'm a little bit hyped up for some reason.
I know.
Probably because I've been gone for so long.
And you haven't biked this morning?
I have not.
And you haven't taken your medication?
No medication.
No. Uh-oh.
I am a little hopped up on caffeine, though.
Oh, man.
So,
Flip side of jet lag.
yeah,
Okay.
maybe there's that.
And Mr. Matt Legrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? You guys look lovely this morning.
As do you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we've got a special guest today with us,
Yes.
Mr. Whitney Phillips. How are you?
Hey, everyone. I'm very honored and humbled to be here with you today.
Oh, that's a good
Honored and
intro.
humble. I mean,
Yes.
my expectations for the sarcasm level on this podcast are at an all-time high.
They just went up.
Because you're on the podcast. So you start with honored and humble. I don't know what to do with that.
It's the first minute, Matt.
Okay. All right.
Give it some time.
Start slow. We'll work our way there. Good.
Oh, gosh. It's been a busy week. Let's start our back pedal. Matt, kick us off.
I have almost nothing for you guys. I swam a fair amount. I biked a little bit. I'm still recovering from an Achilles issue. When I raced the week before last or whatever, listen to the last podcast, I complained about it for an hour and a half. So, yeah, that's my back pedal. Move on. Let's move on to someone that has more upbeat information.
Oh, my goodness. Lance, back pedal for us.
Well, I am back from Europe, so it took a 2-week trip through Europe with my wife for our anniversary. We had a great time. Went all through Italy and Croatia and Greece and a little bit of France and Barcelona. So I was in some cool spots. After about I was gone for almost 2 weeks, so it was like 14 days. But after about day 10, I was done.
You were just ready to be done with the trip.
I was ready to be done.
Were you just ready to be home and biking, or
Yes.
were you?
Yeah, it's like I missed my bike. I missed my dog.
Yeah. You miss the gravel biking
And
stuff, or
it was too long to be off the bike right in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've been training a lot for a lot of time, but I don't know. It was just I had a great time with my wife. So that was fun, but I'm glad to be back.
Any of your international listeners see you over there?
Yeah.
Get stopped at customs?
I did not get recognized in Italy, which I'm really kind of disappointed in.
absolutely, as you should be. Yeah.
Although yesterday at the Obra State Champ Team Time Trials, I did get recognized. I got called out from crowds. Hey, Lance Romance. I did hear that a couple of times, which was fun.
Wow.
Yeah. So
The pictures are absolutely phenomenal. Lance's Instagram, which I think it's Lance Pants Romance or something .org.
It's at Dr. Hep. Actually,
I was close.
Yeah.
So close.
So close.
Okay.
I should change it to Lance Romance, shouldn't I?
I don't know.
No, I shouldn't.
I mean, you could lose followers that
I could
way.
lose followers that way.
It's possible.
But yeah, so I had a great trip, and it turns out that 2 weeks off the bike is not good preparation for a 40K time trial.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yesterday was the team time trial for the Oregon Bicycle Racing Association, and I was invited by 3 solid athletes on our team to join them for their 4-person team. And they may have regretted inviting me. So I rode with Jake, and with Chris Surratt and with Chris Hannell, all people we've talked about on this podcast quite a bit. All three guys have
all studs.
Yeah, they all have FTPs in the mid 300s. They're all super strong. I do not have an FTP in the mid 300s, and so
Yeah. Do you have an FTP after 2 weeks off?
It's not good.
It's just
right
no
now.
FTP. It's not there.
We all tried really hard, but a 40K time trial, that's like 26 miles long, and I literally could only hang with him for about the first half.
Okay, that's pretty good.
So I was pushing 400 watts just to stay on a wheel for a while, and that was just too much for me.
Well, that first half was windy. So
yes, we were into the wind.
It was a tough first half.
Yeah, into the wind, and it was funny. I'm super proud of our team. We ended up taking third, even though we all kind of fell apart a little bit. But I got dropped at about the midway point, and I still only finished about 5 minutes behind him because I didn't just completely sandbag it in. I just kind of pushed it in, just not super hard and fast. But I'm coming down the home stretch, and for whatever reason, I started puking.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
And I could feel it coming. I'm like, well, I'm not really going that hard. Why is my stomach kind of revolting? Obviously, I was going way too hard. But, and so it's one of those things where I'm riding on the bike, I'm down in the drops, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel... Whoa! And I throw up all over my sleeve and myself. And then I'm just laughing because it's so ridiculous that I'm throwing up on myself. I'm looking behind me to see if there's people
make sure you're not puking on someone.
And again, I puked again. And then I'm just like, I puke and then I'm laughing and I'm like, this is so ridiculous. I went.
Gosh, that could only happen to you.
Hard. I know. It was.
Did you take somebody home with you after the race?
But no, I didn't.
No, just in your car.
Oh yeah, Jake was with me.
Was that his head out the window?
It was pretty funny.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened.
Yeah, I think I really wanted to stay with the guys, so I pushed way beyond my fitness level to try to stay with them.
In 2 weeks off, I bet.
2 weeks off.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a couple workouts in, but it was
different,
very rare. So yeah, I was the puker. It was
all those
it was
cannolis
hilarious.
you had in Italy, huh?
Dude, I ate so much food on that trip.
How is the bike and how is the positioning and all that stuff?
Time trial bikes are not fun to ride.
They're hard. Yeah,
they're hard to ride.
And then have you been on one much since you were a triathlete?
No.
Okay, well,
it's been 10 years since I've really been on one.
Probably become a triathlete.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just.
So my bike was super fast. It was solid. It wasn't. I mean, I had all the right gear. I certainly looked the part. I just didn't have the legs.
What was your? So it was 40K.
40K.
What was your time?
Our team came in at 54.
Okay, 54.
54 minutes. The winning team came in at 51 and change.
And you were
They're
what? A
just
couple
shy
minutes
of
back?
52, yeah. We're 2 minutes off the pace.
You were 2 minutes back?
I was 5 minutes off our team.
Okay. 58, so.
Yeah, so I came in at 58 or something.
Then would have been a couple minutes faster if you weren't puking. So,
yeah. And laughing.
And laughing. The laughing cost you.
It was humorous to me for some reason. So anyway, there's my backstory puke.
Beautiful.
How about you, Whitney? You want
Wow,
to
I
backpedal
get
for
to
us?
follow that.
That's
Yeah.
hard. It's a hard man to follow.
That. Whitney,
amazing.
I'm super happy you're here today. Whitney's like one of my favorite people.
Oh, yeah.
He is he is a good guy, and we've spent a lot of time together, and I'm just glad that he's here to share it with us.
Well, and at one point, I think Lance had his hands in my mouth.
That's right. I did do some work on you as a dentist.
Yes.
I was like,
That
what are you
sounded
talking
weird.
about? Like right after the puking thing, I'm thinking like, that's not sanitary. The puker had his
Get
hands
with
in
it,
your
man.
mouth.
Get with it.
Okay. Sorry. Slowing the uptake.
All right, so my back pedal kind of goes back a whole week, so I won't take very long. But I was recovering from the Oregon Grand Fondo, which was 117 miles.
I was going to ask you about that. I wanted you to include that as a part of your backpedal. So
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was fast. We stopped for a total of about 30 seconds to grab a third water bottle. And
Wow.
that was
For
it.
the whole thing.
The whole thing. And I got something funny that happened. Andy Levine and I were riding next to each other at one point, and someone pulled up and said, "Hey, are you Lance Romance?" And Andy looks at him and he says, "No, that guy is."
when I wasn't there.
And he wasn't there. But anyhow, we clarified it with him and said, no, he's off in Europe right now.
Yeah.
So anyways, your fame precedes you.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So that was just a Grand Fondo, but it was treated kind of as a race. It was timed and
Oh, cool.
kind of age group.
Do you think you'll do it again?
I don't know. It turned out well. I mean, if it had been bad weather, it probably would have been a little rough. We're on some logging roads down a little bit west of Cottage Grove, Oregon.
Yeah.
So kind of right in the middle of the state.
What bike did you use?
I used a road bike.
Just road bike? Did you use 28? Did you change tires or anything like that?
I did not change tires. I have 25s on my
25s.
road bike. And
No problem.
It was on pavement. There was some.
Oh, the logging roads are still.
They were kind of paved, but they were kind of chunky. But anyways, it was a tough ride, but it felt good to finish.
That's awesome.
Yeah, 117 miles.
Ouch.
Then I decided to do short track the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Short track mountain bike race, like
Yes.
30 minutes long, right?
Exactly. That's where I could have puked. I didn't, but
You're letting me down, Whitney.
It's
Maybe
a
I
30-minute
didn't push-
sprint, though. It's hard not to
You're
feel
right.
that
I
urge to want to
didn't push
puke.
myself hard enough because that says you're pushing hard enough, right?
Right.
So first short track race of the year, I get out and I do the pre-ride. There was a sand pit that they had built that had maybe about a foot deep of that
Yeah, it was-
sugary sand.
Yeah.
Rode through it just fine pre-ride. Got there on the first lap and there were all these guys just stopped. So I decided to take the inside lane and cut it. And then it just dropped off straight into the sand. So I got buried in the sand.
Oh, yeah.
Then
Wait,
I-
did you endo? Like,
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Then I tip over and I land with my foot still clipped in. And I don't know if you've ever been laying on top of yourself, the bike, and you're clipped in. You can't get out.
Can't get out. You're just.
So then I start wiggling out. The ribbon and the stake are twisted in my head. And
Oh, that's funny.
the whole field passes me.
oh no.
So then I think I got back about half the field. But it was one of those weeks where you're just like, well, maybe I should go back to doing something else. And then yesterday, went in the team time trial with a different group than Jake and Lance. And our wheels kind of fell off, not literally, but figuratively.
Yeah.
We had 3 guys with time trial bikes and 1 guy with a road bike. The guy with the road bike is super strong.
Yep.
And he's one of our teammates, Jay Small.
Oh, yeah.
And after
that's
about
strong.
5 miles, he could not hang on because of that wind.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
really
yeah.
windy out there, and he was sitting up high on a road bike and just
And he's
couldn't-
tall, too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
so.
a big guy. And he just couldn't hang on, so we just left him. So we had 3 guys to work, and one of them was kind of sick. Ian Gibson was feeling a little rough. He had an upper respiratory thing going on. And so John Hatfield and I just kind of kept on the front a little bit more, but we were kind of surprised. We came in 4th out of 4 teams,
Wow.
but
Okay.
Yeah.
but we kept a
Top
26
4.
mile an hour average. So
It's good,
Yeah.
especially
was-
with that headwind.
the headwind was kind of rough going out, and then coming back was fun. You know, going 31, 32 miles an hour with
Yeah.
the tailwind.
So your time wasn't that far off these guys, I'm
It
guessing.
was probably I think we were 56.
56.
So a few minutes
fast,
ahead.
yeah.
So anyways, looking forward to getting out and doing the individual time trial next week.
Nice.
You're going to go back for more.
I think so.
Are you going to go for the whole Omnium next week?
It's a possibility.
Yeah?
I'm thinking about it.
That would
See,
be
that
pretty
that's
awesome.
what happens when your kids are gone. You've got nothing else to do on the
Right.
weekend.
What else would you do?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you should have fitness from the Grand Fondo. You did the time trial, more fitness there. You did your interval work at short track. And if you set your week up right, you could have a pretty good fun Omnium weekend.
Yeah, I might give it a try.
That could be neat. Mm-hmm. I said the word neat. When was the last time you said the word neat? That's neat. Anyway, anything else? That's your back pedal?
That's my back pedal.
Nice.
Awesome. Mike back pedal, real quick.
Did you puke?
I did not puke.
Just Lance? What's
Just
going
me.
on, man?
I'm the sole puker again.
Can't believe that. No, you sure? Didn't puke? Just you? Okay.
It's just me.
Yeah. I did race twice last week, though. That's the
awesome.
first time I've raced twice in 1 week, and God knows how long. I did short track, went out there and raced in the 45 plus Cat 1 field, which was fun. We had 5 teammates in that race, and it will be likely 6 tonight.
Should be 6 tonight.
If Lance is out there with us.
I should be there tonight. Yep.
And that was a lot of fun. I ended up taking 3rd in our field, and there was a gentleman by the name of Danny Winkle, and he won the race, and I had no business keeping up with him that day. He was solid, super strong. He came by us like we were standing still and just kind of rode off our wheels. I wasn't feeling 100%. I knew I wasn't going to catch him, and then I made things worse by going off course. We caught up to some of the field in front of us, and it was really tough to get around these guys because they were thinking, well, maybe these guys are in our class, or they just didn't want to let us come by. So you're having to burn matches every time you're having to pass this, quote unquote, lap traffic. And I finally was trying to get around this one guy, and we came to the top of a short little punchy climb on the motocross track. And just the way the cones were set up, it looked like that's where the line was. And there was actually, you could see bike lines going there. So people were obviously doing something maybe during warm-ups or something like that. We go off course. And I'm like, crap, because he came down like the steep backside of this big like jump or something like that, and it's all chunked up from like them like plowing the motocross track. I'm like, this isn't the course, and they all start screaming, "We're off track, we're off course!" Because like 2 or 3 other guys passed me, and I look over to the left, and 3 or 4 guys go rolling by, just like mostly teammates. I'm like, well, that sucks. There goes all that work that I just put into to get myself, because I was in second place, and I was going to try and keep Danny in my sights and see if I could maybe catch him. But when that happened, I knew that there was no chance. The worst part about that, though, is in the process of doing that, I tweaked my ankle. The one that I am supposed to have surgery on. And if I get into a position where it's like plantar flex, meaning that your toes are pointed down, I'm good. If it gets into a dorsiflex position and then I rotate at all, that's when that cartilage that's torn in there will get caught and hung up and kind of like get inflamed, really irritated, and it hurts. It's not a happy feeling. So I did that. My heel was down, and I turned a little bit when I was trying to get out of that stuff to get back on course. And for about 2 to 3 laps after that, did not feel good. So I was kind of like, you could look at me like, he almost looks like he's limping on a bike. It was like one of those things. And it slowly started to work itself out. And then as it started to feel a little bit better, I started to pick off people one at a time. And I ended up finishing in 3rd place. So that wasn't too bad. But that was kind of a bummer to know that, that can happen. So I've got to be really careful that I can't get into that position. Otherwise, it's going to screw up my whole race.
Yeah.
Did you pre-ride the course?
I did.
And that really tight turn,
It was just a tight turn. And
I remember
there's a couple of them that kind of feel the same when you're coming up them. When you're in the heat of the moment and you're redlined this whole race, 30 minutes, your heart rate for me, like I was in the 180s, I think, for just about the entire race. And that's pretty darn close to my max heart rate for the entire time. Sometimes you're just in the moment, and that's what feels right. And so you just go there and I'm like, yeah, that was the wrong call. So live and learn, right?
Right.
So, got up the next day. I could not move. I slept okay that night. I was dead to the world all day long. I'm like, what is wrong with me? I'm like, that was just a short track race. It's no different than like an interval workout. So I think I was actually carrying, I'm still dealing with a little bit of a respiratory infection as well myself, like from my sinuses into my chest. My wife seems to think maybe it has something to do with allergies. I've never had allergies before, but all day on Tuesday, I was just dead. I didn't even get on a bike on Tuesday. I thought about it. I'm like, no, there's no way I'm riding. So Wednesday went by, did a little ride. Thursday, I went out and started to get the TT bike set up. And that was what my plan was for Tuesday, was to try and get the TT bike set up so I can figure out the position. Went out on the TT bike on Thursday, and that ride went so well, it only lasted 7 miles. I myself and TT bikes, were 2 different animals right now. We just don't fit together very well. So I came back, made some adjustments, and I got in the ballpark for a ride that we did on Saturday, where we went out, myself and Lance and Chris Hannell and Chris Surratt, to just kind of go practice.
We did a little team practice on a time trial.
Yeah, we went out to Vancouver Lake. It was actually pretty fun. And I got the bike pretty darn close. I actually had to lift the cockpit up more. I had to change the seat position quite a bit, just to get myself so I'm somewhat comfortable, because my shoulder just does not agree with that position at all.
You're putting a lot of weight on the shoulders.
Yeah. And so we get out there and we start running around. We're all making little tweaks and whatnot to our bike. So there's me, and I'm so far away from like looking like home, like I belong on a TT bike. I just look awful. And then there's Chris Hannell.
He doesn't need a TT bike.
No, I know.
We put him on. So our team is awesome. He didn't have a TT bike, and he was going to just go out and ride his road bike. I was going to give him some clip-on aero bars, and he was going to be good. So I'm like, you know what? I really want to do well at this thing. The state championship time trial, I want to do as well as we possibly can. So let's give ourselves every advantage we possibly can. So I put it out there to the team, like, and this is totally last minute. It's like the morning of the day that we're going to go out there and do this team time trial.
Yeah.
I said, just a fat chance ask here. Does anybody have a time trial bike that would fit Chris Handel? And I put out the size, and I thought, fingers crossed, maybe one or two people will, respond and say, yeah, he can use my bike. I'm not kidding you. Facebook, my email, and my text messaging all blew up. We had 15 people offer up a bike for him to ride.
That's awesome.
That is insane. That is, God, I love this team.
Yeah.
They're the best. So just a little shout out to my team. I know that a lot of you listen. Thank you very much. That was awesome. Elisa Wise actually has a super nice Sorello P5. And she had some Zip 808s, and it fit him like a glove. We put him on that thing, and he just looked like he'd been riding that bike for 10 years. He looked like he and that bike were best friends.
It wasn't fair, actually, to put him on that bike. He was just a rocket on it.
What's the first thing he does? He just goes to warm up. He's out there taking like KOMs on segments that have been standing for a long time.
Yes, he did.
He's like,
By himself.
I believe
He came back. He was giddy. He was like giggling like a little schoolgirl. Like, I am so happy. This bike is so fast.
I wonder if he's going to pick up one.
Yeah,
A bike.
He said
like
he
a TT
is.
bike.
Yeah.
Well, his position is perfect for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a flexible, strong dude that knows how to get small and just go fast.
Yeah. He has great form when he's up and moving. I'd like to see him pick up, something like that, P5 or something like that. I wonder what he'll get on the TT side. That's a great bike.
Yeah, we'll
Very
see.
Fast.
So we went out and did the team time trial. Took third, like Lance said, and Lance had his issues, and I think I was probably a little bit of a liability for the guys as well, because I could not. My shoulder was done. I was like, I went into yesterday sore. Like, I haven't taken like pain meds in a long time. I took pain meds the night after we did the group ride, a little team thing, and I took them again the morning that I got up because my shoulder was hurting, and I took them again before the race, and I took them after the race. And it still was hurting. And the whole time we were out there, I just could not get comfortable. So I was oscillating back and forth between the aero position and the base bar.
Wow.
To begin with, my position that I had to set myself up with just to be comfortable was catching all kinds of wind. It's funny, there's a picture of us at the finish line, and I was in what would be considered my most aero position, and I'm way further up than the rest of the guys. And I was able to finish with them, thank God. But after the race, I'm curious, like, what the power numbers look like, and I'm like, I wonder what everybody else's power numbers on our team look like. And I asked everybody, I sent a screenshot of my Garmin Connect profile, and they all sent stuff back. And I'm like, my numbers were the highest, like watts output, and like the last, I'm going to say 5 or 6 miles, I was like passing on my turns to the front just because I couldn't get into that aero position to maintain the speed that we were going at. And we've got the likes of Chris Surratt, who's sitting up there like just a freaking Freightliner diesel truck, just plowing through the wind. And I looked at his numbers, and he was putting out, I think, almost less watts than I was sitting on his wheel, just because I was catching so much more wind than him.
Oh,
Yeah.
If I could learn how to be aero, if my shoulder would stop being such a pain in the keister, I would love to do that. I think this next year I'm going to dedicate a lot of time and energy to more rehab and really working on that position, because I want us to do well in that, and I think we've got a great team.
You might need a stronger fourth than me.
Or bring air sick bags.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was fun, and kudos to the guys who won that team. Was it TNFC or TCF?
TCNF, yeah.
TCNF. Those guys, they came out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and they just dropped the hammer on everybody. And I think, like, we were so busy thinking, like, oh, what's TAI going to do? And those guys just crushed everyone. So kudos to them. That was
They were the
awesome.
only team that kept all four guys together through the whole thing, too.
And they when they came by, they all looked at home in their position. They all looked like they're working well together as a team,
Yeah.
and that's what you need. So
I think a little team practice and some work, kind of working some stuff like that, working the position for you, like kind of long term. I think that really you guys could do really well.
that team practice was fun. That was my
It
favorite.
was.
That was my favorite part of all last week.
We had a good time.
I had
on
more
that.
fun than both of the races. So it was good times. So, and then my last thing for my back pedal, I saw a famous YouTuber riding his bicycle yesterday in Vancouver, Washington.
Really?
I had to
Yeah.
pull over and talk to him and ask him
Oh,
for his
wow.
autograph.
Yeah.
His name was Matt LeGrand.
I was biking. I went biking yesterday. Yep.
I was coming back
Do
from
you do
Lance's
that
house.
anymore?
I mean, occasionally, just to film stuff for the YouTube channel, not for real, not for any real purpose.
I was coming back from Lance's house. I was on McGilvery, was it? Mm-hmm. And I look up and I'm like, I know that kit. And I see like the I'm like, what's he got on? And he ended up having like the chest
YouTube
strap.
bra.
Yeah, he had it like his full on like YouTuber setup on. He had the GoPro chest strap thing for the chest mount for the GoPro. I'm like, oh, that's funny. I pulled him. Chatted with Matt for a minute. He looked like he was out having a good time, sweating away in the sun.
Yeah.
He's all
It's
glistening.
beautiful weather.
I like it. It was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Had to get out.
Good stuff. All right, let's move forward. Let's do the lead out news. Who would like to get us started? Lance, get us started.
I've got some world news about the Tour de France.
Le Tour.
I saw a news story on Velo News this morning that Primo Roglic, who took fourth at the Tour of Italy, was not picked to be on the Tour de France team.
Wow.
Yeah. So they've decided not to have him on the Tour de France team, and I'm not exactly sure why. But guess who's taking his place? Wout van Aert.
I saw that.
Oh, wow.
Was going to be
Yeah.
on there. That's cool.
So Wout van Aert, only 24 years old. He is a 3-time world cyclocross champion. He hasn't made the big splash that Matthew Van Der Poel has made this year on the World Tour, but he got picked to be one of the 8-man roster on
Is
that
that
team.
locked and
that's-
loaded, or can they make changes all the way up until?
They've announced it that this is our team, and of course they could make
Yeah.
changes. But
And they didn't say why.
for Primo, I'm sure they did. I just didn't read it that close.
Okay.
So that team is the Jumbo
Newslight.
Visma, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Jumbo Visma team, and I'm wondering if it's like, hey, he can probably snag a stage on one of the cobble sections. Because are they going to through the cobbles this year? I don't know what this.
I don't know that either.
But it seems like that would be the spot that you would potentially want someone like him to go for a stage win.
They do have a sprinter on the team.
They have a sprinter, and they have
They have another
GC contender.
guy. Yeah. So I guess maybe they just lost a little faith in Roglic, or they decided he needs another year,
Rest?
or maybe, yeah.
Maybe break. I don't know. I feel like that doubling back is really hard to do in a Grand Tour. I don't know. I've never done it, but it seems hard.
Yeah. So that's my World Tour news.
How about you, Whitney?
Well, my news is going to come from a couple of places I used to live, and it's Conti type stuff. So in Boise, Idaho, next month, Kristen Armstrong, who's one of our Olympic time trialists, just amazing bike rider, she is sponsoring a time trial out there
Really?
for pros. Yeah. So I don't know if anybody here ever rolls through Boise. So
I do.
Might be something you'd want to watch. But then the next day is their Twilight Criterium that I used to watch when I lived there. And it is crazy. So it's a pro level crit, and it's at night, and Boise just lights up, and
cool.
people are ringing cowbells the whole time, and it's just a wild experience. But that's coming next month, and I think they're also doing like George Hincap. He's doing one of his Grand Fondos that weekend. I won't be out there, but I'll be on STP that day. So
Gotcha.
but it's close by. Another thing that's coming out west is the Tour of Utah in August. And for those of you that haven't been out there, it's fun to watch some of the tour, and then you can also ride one of the stages in what they call the Ultimate Challenge, and they let just anybody enter the Queen stage of the race.
Oh, wow.
And so that comes in August, and that's kind of fun to watch. I watched probably the first 8 years of it living there.
Yeah.
And did the Ultimate Challenge, and it's a lot of fun, and you get to see they'll bring some tour riders out, but usually it's just Conti guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
So did I hear you were going to do STP?
Yes.
The one day? Okay,
That's
so for
Seattle to Portland.
Yeah, for
it's
people
not
that don't
motor
know.
oil. Yeah.
Okay, motor oil. So bike ride that you ride from Seattle to Portland, it's about 204 miles. 206
Something like
miles,
that.
okay.
Yeah, I think Jake won it one year.
Yeah, or he was in the mix for sure.
Didn't you?
It's not really a race,
Right.
But
Well, yeah.
They have a chip time thing where you can basically enter to see who gets the best time for the one day. And I actually was the first one to come across the finish line, but there's a little caveat. We rode together with a group of people, and Greg Steele, who is a good friend of ours that races for Therapeutic Associates, rode with our group, and we all were leaving together, and he was like 3 or 4 people back as they pushed us out of the the gate to get started. And as you go underneath the gate, it trips your chip time, and that's when you start. And he started a couple people behind me, and we slowed up just to get everybody together. Then we started riding. Well, I didn't realize that couple of seconds would be enough for him to actually get a faster time than me, because he came in like 1 or 2 people behind me, but it took him a little bit longer to get under at the beginning. But at the end, I was the first one across. and his time was just a few seconds faster.
Okay,
So,
that's
but
funny.
it wasn't an individual effort anyway. It was our group. So if you're just thinking about if you look up at historical data, he's in first, I'm in second, but we rode together. Yeah, our rolling time that year was 9.5 hours, and with an elapsed time of I think it was just under 10, if I'm not mistaken. So
What is it, 210 or?
206 miles.
206.
We averaged, our rolling average time was 21.5 miles an hour.
Wow.
So for that period of time, that hurt.
Not only Greg Steele, Andy Levine was there as well. So was Justin Wagner.
Yep.
And I rode the last 120 miles with him.
Yeah. You met us up in Longview, was it? Yeah.
So I was the ringer to help. I was there to help Jake.
We were all moving pretty good, and we're trying to keep pace, and we were about 100-ish miles in, and all of a sudden Lance comes up, and most people didn't know who Lance was that were riding with us, like Justin Wagner, and Lance comes up, he starts taking hero pulls to the front, and they're like, who is this guy? Why is he going so freaking hard? Has he been riding with us all? So
No, I just jumped on. So
So what are you doing on July 13th?
I don't know.
Oh, anyway, didn't mean to steal that from you.
Oh, no.
So good. Did you have anything else to say about STP,
No,
Matt?
no. Just I was just curious that you were doing it, and just wishing you luck. You're going to do the one day.
Yes.
Good luck, my friend.
I don't camp well.
With who?
Yeah.
With Andy Levine.
With Andy Levine.
Yeah.
Nice.
And are you going to do some more news stuff for us, Matt?
Nope.
I don't have much to offer in terms of news. I saw an interesting article this morning. It was a release. Nikki Bramier, she is the British cyclocross national champion. I think she's the reigning champion. And she announced this morning that she is retiring because she's going to have a kid. So I just wanted to say, congratulations to her on having a kid, first of all, and being pregnant. And what a great career. Good job. She's 32 years old, and she's a gamer. She can get after it and has done extremely well. So all the best with your retirement, and maybe there'll be one of those things once her kid gets a little bit older, maybe she'll get that bug and come on back, because you can always use more good women in racing. Good stuff. So, all right. This week we have the hot seat.
The hot seat.
It's been a while.
It has been a
while.
I'll leave the sound effects alone so Matt doesn't get mad at me. Lance, why don't you start us off with a hot seat question?
I have a hot seat for our friend Whitney.
Oh, jeez.
So
He's going to regret coming on
Don't
the
ask
podcast.
about chamois butter
No,
after your
Wait,
time
that was my
trial.
second question. It was about chamois cream.
I don't even want to know.
You don't want to know.
I don't even want to know.
All right, so actually this morning I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was interviewing Laird Hamilton. Do you guys know who Laird Hamilton is?
Surfer.
Yeah, he's like a big wave surfer. He married Gabriella Reese, who is a professional volleyball player. He's just like Superman.
Yeah.
And did you guys have any idea how old he is?
He's like 50-something, isn't he?
He's 55.
Yeah.
I would have said 40.
But he
Right.
He doesn't even look like that.
He doesn't look like that. He's super strong, and he takes care of himself. And Whitney, how old are you?
Double nickels.
Double nickels.
But
I thought Whitney
I'm not
was
looking that good.
So my question is, what do you do for longevity? Because I knew you're 55 years old, and you do not look like you're 55, and you don't ride or train. Whitney has ridden me off his wheel dozens of times. There's been lots of times I have not been able to hang on to Whitney, and I'm always blown away. I'm like, okay, this dude is in his mid-50s, and I'm still having trouble hanging on with him. So what has been your secrets for longevity?
Well, thank you for the compliment, Lance. I do look 55, unless I start dyeing my hair. That just for men, maybe.
We have pretty similar hair, Whitney. It's all silver and gray.
That's right. I think that staying active is probably the biggest part of it. You can tweak your diet here and there, but I've been pretty active most of my adult life. I was a runner early on. I did some mountain bike racing back in the 1900s. And then I started into triathlon in the early 2000s. And, I always struggled to be a part of something because I travel so much for work, and I'm never at home every Tuesday night or every Wednesday night or whatever. So I tried to find some things that I could kind of mesh into my life as I travel. Running was very easy while I traveled, but, I think it's just coming down to staying active And being on the healthy side, I don't follow a strict diet, but I do pay attention to what I eat.
Okay.
Sleep is a huge thing for me, and I pay attention to my sleep. I track it all the time,
Okay.
and I make sure that I'm getting enough deep sleep.
How do you track it?
I just do it with my Garmin.
Okay, you have
So I wear my Garmin to bed. It's really attractive.
and it has a you mean the heart strap?
No, well, I have the
So you-
heart,
so you
heart monitor in
The
the
wrist
Garmin
heart
watch.
rate monitor in
Right.
the watch.
And it
Okay.
tracks your movement. So I don't know how accurate that is in terms of sleep tracking, but I'm sure that there's sometimes I move around and I'm still sleeping deep. But anyhow,
But you do get some numbers on how much deep sleep you're getting every night.
Correct.
How much REM sleep you're getting every night.
Right.
Okay.
so I think it just is a combination of a lot of things. It's not, I can't just point to one thing. So it's a lifestyle and just kind of finding things that keep you active.
Okay.
When are you going to start acting like you're 55?
Oh, I do when I wake up. If you saw my first steps out of bed, it would be,
That would be like,
it's kind of rough.
Gotcha.
But just try to take care of yourself the best you can and be consistent.
Being consistent with it.
Yeah.
Now, you're a competitor. You love getting out there and racing your bike.
I do.
If I asked you, would you know off the top of your head how many races you did last year in 2018?
I'd say 30.
42.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Wow. Wow. Jeez.
I don't stack up to like the Westerfield clan, but
Yeah,
I
that's just
enjoy
insane.
competing, even
Yeah.
though I'm not that good at it. Sometimes I enjoy competing myself. I mean, the years I was in triathlon, you're really competing against yourself a lot of times, especially when you're not somebody like Evan, where you're
Right.
a professional. But you'd want to improve your times. You want to be a little faster, and so being competitive with myself is probably the biggest thing.
So, how many years did you do triathlon?
My last triathlon was in 2016. It was the Coeur d'Alene 70.3. I did my first full in 2009, and I think I did my first triathlon in 2006.
Okay.
And it was basically a family affair. My father and my brother wanted me to join in this triathlon and be 1/3 of it. And then my other brother jumped in and I was left holding the bag. And so I thought, well, screw it. I'll just do the whole thing myself. And that was the beginning.
Oh, wow.
And you haven't done triathlon in about 2 years?
Well, it's
Ish.
going on 3. So June of 2016 was my last triathlon. Yeah.
So have we fully converted you then to full-time cyclist? You're not going to go back to the dark side?
I keep telling Matt for the last 2 years, I think I'm going to try something, and I never do it. But I swam this year for the first time. So that's one step closer.
Huge. Open water swimming too, not just any of that pool Nancy Pantsy stuff.
And I was the sweeper that night. Just wanted to make sure nobody was out there behind anybody, myself. And I still keep up on the running. So someday I may do it again.
Yeah, I've seen you out on the trails.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to run with you. What was that, like a month ago or something like
It
that?
was like 6 months ago.
Okay. Well, that's how well my running's going. So
So just again, going back to Lance's question and then Whitney's response is just staying active. Whitney has logged 170 hours of training so far this year, and that is equated out to about 2,800 miles of just riding. And then on the running side of things, have you done much running this year?
No, this year's not been a good year for running, so you probably won't even see 30 miles.
Well, according to this, it says that you've done 171.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oops, forgot to turn my Garmin off right into
Driving home.
and then 2018, we can go back and look at some more historical data. I mean, you put in on the bike almost 370 hours. That's a lot of time sitting on the bicycle, and that's just shy of 6,000 miles. That's why you stay young and you stay fit, and that's a huge testament to cycling and just endurance sports in general. We talk about it all the time. When we go out and ride bikes, it's funny sometimes to like be out riding with people, and it's kind of hard sometimes when they have their helmet and their sunglasses and all that fun stuff to really see what they look like. But you'll see guys out there that are super fit, and you're like, oh, that guy's got to be in his 30s, and you find out that gosh, he's in his mid 50s or 60s or what have you.
Yeah.
And they're out there hammering. They're getting it done, and I love the fact that I'm mid 40s and I've got a few decades left of hopefully riding bikes if I don't get taken out before then or kill myself. So.
Well, it does put the health. I mean, it keeps you healthy. I think one of the coolest things is when you go to the doctor and they take your vitals and they're like, something's wrong. It says 48 for your heart rate.
like, are you okay? You might, yeah.
So I mean, cardiovascular health is a big part of staying young, and
Yeah.
I think that what we do keeps that going.
Yeah. Well, and there's a big component too to being competitive in racing. There's a whole paradigm that you live within for racing to keep yourself as competitive as you possibly can. So now you're really, like you said before, paying attention to your sleep and your rest. You're paying attention to what you're putting in your body, and you're going out and you're training hard. So all of these things result in somebody that's going to be far more fit, and they're going to be fit for longer periods of time in their life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that. Good question, Lance.
It was all for Whitney.
Well, thank you, and that wasn't too tough. I was getting nervous, sweating over here.
Oh, good. So then, since you're not nervous or you're not sweating, it's your turn for the hot seat, Whitney.
Hot seat.
Okay, I don't know how this exactly works. Do I ask one of you a question or
ask-
the whole
no,
thing?
the-
Well,
whatever
I'm
you
gonna
want.
I'm going to ask the whole thing, and if you
Yeah.
guys have addressed this before, I apologize. Sometimes I'm driving down the road so fast that I can't hear the podcast very well. So,
Yeah.
but how do you personally handle burnout? Because a triathlete, Evan's not here, but he puts in some crazy hours.
Ridiculous hours.
And you put in a lot of hours, and then you guys are doing all the cycling, and Lance spends weeks out there on the road. I mean, how do you handle burnout?
We've talked about this before, and I'll just not even pay attention to training. Just stop following the training program 100% and go take some rides where it's just for fun. Don't go out and hammer. Stop, take some pictures, go take some food with you, go sit on the side of a mountain or something like that and just take it all in and just relax. And then if you're really feeling severely burned out, you just take some time off the bike and go do something else for a bit of time. Go be active in other ways. It's going to happen, especially if you're putting in 42 races a year and a lot of training.
Yeah.
You're going to probably feel that at some point in time during the course of the season. For me, after a road racing season, I'm pretty done because that's a lot of races at a lot of intensity with a lot of training. And all of a sudden you roll into short track, you're like, oh, but then I get out there and it's fun. So, but I'll completely cut back on my volume during the week during the short track season. So
Yeah.
I'll go from 10 to 12 hours down to 5 or 6 if I'm getting burned out. So that's me.
Another little burnout trick for sure. I'll do this with my cross country athletes. Take them to a race, have them watch, not race. You'll want to race. You'll be chomping at the bit to race, and that's immediately you're going from I'm burnt out, I don't want to do this anymore, to being oh no, I can't wait to race the next weekend or whatever it is. Give that a try if you're feeling burnt out. To any of you guys,
If I can speak to that
Sure.
real quick, being taken out last year and having to sit on the sidelines was a huge motivator for me. I would never have thought in a million years that I would have done as much trainer work as I did this past off season once I was given the okay to sit on a trainer. Then I did. I was out there on that trainer riding religiously daily and putting in big chunky, for me,
Oh, yeah, I remember
times.
that.
I mean, 40, 50, 60 miles on the freaking trainer, hating it. But at the same time, I was put on the sidelines, and granted, I got to go out and watch and take pictures, and that part was fun, but I wanted to be out there. And so to speak to what Matt just said, that's a big thing. So go watch a race.
I think for me, my life isn't fair right now because I have free time to kind of switch things up if I want to. If I start to get burnt out on something, I can go somewhere else for a couple weeks. So that's a douchebag answer. I should
travel.
Say.
just say travel.
I should travel.
Well, no, I mean, if you've worn yourself down because you've just done a couple of gravel rides or 3 in a row, and you've got to get ready for another one, how do you deal with the physical fatigue and burnout?
Focusing on sleep and recovery. I try to do the same type of thing. I try to focus on those two things to help me kind of roll back over or turn back around. And I'm not traditionally a very good sleeper. I have struggled with controlling my sleep and the times that I sleep and how much actually deep and REM sleep I get as well. That's taken a lot to actually work on that. During my career, it was kind of a badge of honor to say how much I didn't sleep, right? I get by on 4 or 5 hours a night, because I'm working and I'm training and I'm running all these things, and I kind of felt it as a badge of honor. And it's the opposite of what I should have been doing. I should have been taking more care of myself and watching those things even closer, but I was caught up in the, success of, what I was trying to do. So I guess that makes it a little more interesting. But the other thing I really try to do combating burnout is switching it up. If I am feeling fried, I'll go for a hike instead of a long ride. Or I'll go stand up paddleboard with my wife. You know, I still have a hard time swimming. I think I hated it so much during my triathlon years that I have a hard time doing that. Although I did go swimming. I did an open water swim in Monaco.
Yeah, but I think you were back on your back. I saw the time it took
was
you to
slow.
do that.
It was
You were floating on your back, or you had water wings or something.
I do feel like this is turning into a triathlon podcast, so that's good.
That's not good. I
it's
still
a-
have water in my ear from the one stupid open water swim I did.
Yeah, but it's from the Mediterranean.
It is
Keep
from
it in
the
there.
Mediterranean.
Keep it in there.
Yeah.
Savor it.
So I think, you know, I try to mix it up a little bit when I'm combating burnout. But I've gone through the same thing where I've been injured, and usually when I'm injured, I stay away from the races because I'm too competitive. If you guys haven't noticed, I have a bit of a competitive streak in me. I think that's why we are all probably sitting at this table. But I'm so like upset to watch a race that I'm not involved in that it's difficult for me to go to races. And after I got injured 2 years ago, I forced myself to go to like several cyclocross races and just watch because I knew I wanted it to stoke my fire for the days when I knew that, you know, the training hours were getting long.
And I remember that day you called it quits. Remember seeing you sprawled out on the grass at David Douglas Park.
That's correct.
On your back.
I had blown myself up.
Lance was a yard sale that day.
I was sure. I did make the podium still, but I ruined myself. Yeah.
How about you, Whitney?
You know, that's something I struggle with, trying to figure out, because I'm compelled to do something.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to force myself to just slow it down. One thing I did on Saturday is I was tempted to go out with a couple of different groups that I saw going for a ride.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go on my own pace, put some music in my right ear, and just go slow, not worry about segments, not worry about climbs.
Yep.
And just took an easy ride. I think I went about 35 miles or something like that, and just took it easy. And so stuff like that.
Yeah, that's good.
There is a little you kind of just hit a little thing that I was going to talk about. Don't let yourself become a slave to Strava.
Oh no.
That's a real thing that a lot of people like. Some people will look at your ride, or you think that people are looking at your ride saying, "Oh, they had no like trophies, they had no KOMs,
Right.
their average mile per hour was slow," or looking at the week, "Oh, he didn't hit his 10-hour mark for the week," and you think that people are like thinking that about you in the back of your head. Nobody cares.
No.
Nobody freaking cares.
The only thing I care about Strava is I just don't have titles like Lance's. I'm embarrassed that I can't come up with good titles. Mine says lunch ride, evening ride.
So that is one little bit. I love Strava. Just don't become a slave to it and use it for what it's worth. Don't become that person that's got to go out and perform for Strava every single day, because people really don't care that much. But it does have its fun parts to it. So yeah, just my 2 cents. Matt,
Hot seat question. Are you guys
Hot
nervous?
seat.
Yeah.
You should be.
Always.
You should be.
And it's one of the hottest days of the year. So
This
it's
is
perfect timing.
this is a softball for you guys. We'll try and keep this quick and short. So one piece of advice for someone that's getting back into biking after a long extended break, maybe like a year or two of a break. So think about that for a minute. For me, this isn't like a personal thing. I've been biking and things like that. Potentially, I guess maybe I'll have a bit of a break from running. But I think a lot of our listeners may be, hopping on the podcast, listening to the podcast and things like that, and they might enjoy just kind of hearing your guys' 2 cents on how they can get back into biking. So that's the idea.
find a friend.
Find a friend.
That's going to be your number one thing, like an accountability partner, somebody that you can go out and ride with, have fun with. Whoever's willing to go ride with you, even if it's not the same person over and over again. It's always good to have somebody out there with you, because it helps pass the time. It helps you be accountable to getting out there and getting it done, and they can introduce you to some new stuff, especially if there's someone that's a little bit more in tune with the cycling community. Yeah.
Would you say join a club to find a friend?
That's another good place to go.
it might not be that easy to find friends.
Yeah. There's, for us here locally, we've got the Vancouver Bicycle Club. That's a great place to go.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of great people that range anywhere from like your novice entry level person that's just getting out there and getting started, like maybe yourself, or they'll go all the way up to people that are pretty strong, and some people that actually cross over into the racing scene and or maybe even race on our team.
Yep.
So
my first thought was to find a group ride that you can kind of slot into. When you've been away from it a long time, you're going to be nervous about tire pressure, your equipment, changing a flat. If you're out there, can I actually do that on my own? If you go with a group, you're going to be covered,
insulated. Yeah,
totally.
So that's my first thought, is to find a group ride to be a part of. The other thing is, don't feel bad about going out for a 5-mile ride.
Yeah.
If that's where you start, that's completely fine.
That's a good point.
We talk big numbers at this table. I mean, I
make up so many numbers.
I believe all of them, Matt. I'm shattered. So, but we ride a lot of miles a week, and you shouldn't feel pressure like that if you're just getting back into it. You shouldn't feel pressure at all. You do what you can do. And if you go out for a 5-mile ride or a 6-mile ride or a 2-mile ride just to get rolling,
that's awesome.
Kudos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whitney, you got anything for me?
Yeah, I would say for somebody that's getting back into it, be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
You can't get back on and do exactly what you were doing when you were either at your peak or very active.
Yep.
So just be patient with yourself. And like Lance was saying with the group, it can make a big difference because there's always a couple of people in the group that are willing to hang back and work with somebody if they're not as strong as the people on the front of the group. And so usually the groups are going to be pretty good. In fact, in this area, I think Jake got a Friday night group going.
Yeah.
That looks to appeal to just about every ability, kids and women and men and of all skill levels.
Yep, it kind of puts everybody on the same level playing ground because we're going to go the speed of the slowest person. Mm-hmm. So there's a couple guys that will go out there and they'll maybe chase like a little 1-minute climb or something like that, and they'll circle back around for the team just because I don't know, they get a little frisky and they want to go out there and attack something. But for the most part, it's just going out and cruising. So it's a neat little ride.
And be patient with your body. It's going to be sore.
Yeah,
your butt's going to be sore for the first couple of weeks, and you just got to get over it, and it goes away.
This is excellent advice from the three of you. Thank you guys for answering that one.
How about you, Matt? Do you have an answer to that?
That's kind of what I was thinking too, is kind of like, recognizing the fact that you're coming back into it and that you have to be patient with yourself for sure. Don't hesitate to go at a slower pace. Like you look at that miles per hour, and that's haunting you because you might know your miles per hour from before was 20 or something like that. And you look down and you see 12 or whatever it is, those are just numbers. If you could turn off the computer, that's okay too. And do those routes that you're comfortable with. They might be shorter, but yeah, that's it. That's what I got. I don't have too much. I just want to hear what you guys had to say. So
but you've got like 17 questions over there for the hot seat, right?
Oh man, I got a lot of them.
Do you want to throw one more out at us? I know that you were like having a hard time picking and choosing. We got a few minutes here.
I have so many things in here. One thing that I thought would be, this is totally random. I don't know where I came up with this, but like, would you guys ever ride one of those Transformer bikes that fold open? Those things look cool. I kind of want to get one of those.
Have you seen easy to get around?
Wasn't there a guy that
with?
did like a crit or something like that on one of those and actually did really well?
None of us have ridden one, right?
You mean one of the kind that you travel with that
you
folds
can like
up
like take it into the office and it like folds open. Have you seen this?
I have not.
Okay, so
I've seen them, but I have not ridden one.
I'm guessing that we would all ride it for sure if we got the chance.
Yes,
I'll ride anything.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, don't take that out of context, please.
I was going to say, save that one. It's recorded. Jake, do you have a hot seat question for us?
I've got a couple. Here's an easy one. What's your guys' next purchase or even your next big purchase for something bike or endurance field related? What's something you want to get?
You know what? That Garmin bike computer, it's like the 530. I think that my bike computer has given me such headaches because if you sweat on it, it starts changing all the data fields and all this stuff. If it's raining out, it's worthless. You can't use it. And so switching out bike computers would be something that I would be interested in purchasing potentially. But I'm sure I have a list of a bazillion other things to buy for the bike as well. So
I just got one of those. It's sitting on the shelf over there behind you. I still need to take it out of the box and get it set up for hopefully tonight. That's on the fence whether or not I'm going to race tonight, guys. I haven't told you that yet. But anyway, Whitney.
Well, you know, this year things kind of changed. My son is getting married in the fall, and yeah, and
Is
that's
this your
gonna-
son in Virginia?
Yes.
Okay.
And we're handling things a little non-traditionally, so it's costing a little bit of money. So the bike things are going to go by the wayside this year. But I think I would probably go for a specialized gravel bike, not the brand, but a bike that is built for
Specifically
gravel.
yeah.
You're stealing my thunder, Whitney.
Oh,
That's been the funnest bike purchase I've made in the last 3 years. Is a
Gravel bike.
gravel specific bike.
yes.
Yeah.
How about you, Lance?
I'm always in the market for a new bike. So
Always.
I actually want to get a new cyclocross bike.
I was going to ask, yeah, because cyclocross season's coming around.
It is coming around.
What do you have? I can't remember what you.
I have a giant TCX that I
Okay.
bought off of Craigslist for like $1,000, and
Yeah.
and it treated me well last year.
Does it have disc brakes?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
I don't think I wouldn't buy a cyclocross bike without disc brakes.
know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might not buy another bike, period, without disc brakes.
Yeah.
But I had,
Transformer bike might. I don't know if those have disc brakes yet.
so I want a more dedicated cyclocross bike that with tubular wheels that I can go lower pressure and an extra set of wheels. I had trouble last year just with my tubeless wheels in cyclocross because you're doing so much turning.
Yep.
And my rims just must not have been. I kept burping wheels.
Yeah.
In like inopportune times when I'm really putting pressure down to catch somebody. So anyway,
Would you go with a 1-by or 2-by?
I'd go with a 1-by. Just
Okay.
simple.
That sounds good. I can't
Yeah.
wait to see the new bike.
I shouldn't.
Yes, you should.
N+1. If I were to answer my own question, exactly what Whitney said, a new gravel bike. I actually got the pleasure to sit down with the guys from BMC last week, and they showed me the brand new BMC gravel bike that's coming out. And I think I can mention that. Everything else, even the name of the freaking bike, is under embargo for another 2 weeks, I think. But I got to see all the pictures and the specs and the paint schemes.
Oh man.
It's pretty freaking awesome. So I'm really looking forward to getting one of those. As much as I enjoyed riding the Cannondale cross bike when I did that Yamhill gravel Fondo, I needed a gravel specific bike because that bike just isn't built for doing those types of rides. You spin out too much and the geometry is a little different and whatnot. And I'm curious to see how much different of a result I can have. A, being a little bit more healthy, but B, riding a bike that's specific to the gravel stuff because man, that is some fun riding.
I just spent money already in my head.
I know, right?
So, any other questions? Any other hot seaters? We really going to keep this thing this short
We
this
might.
week?
We
Keep it
should.
short
We
this
should
week.
keep it short.
Wow. All right. Let's jump into one last thing. Matt, hit us with one last thing.
I posted a video last week talking, kind of just complaining and whining about my triathlon race, and kind of giving a little bit of an update on where I am and being hurt and stuff like that. If you guys like to hear me complain, that's a great video for you guys to watch. It's on the YouTube channel. This coming week, I want to do a video review of the Garmin. There's a triathlon watch. It's their kind of top of the line watch. It's called the Garmin 945. It's called the Forerunner 945. So I'll hopefully try to put that out this upcoming week, with our podcast coming out on Wednesday, maybe somewhere in that time frame for
Looks
that,
good
that
on you,
video.
man.
Yeah. Yep. I did
Just now noticed that.
I know. I haven't spent a lot of time using it, and that's the problem is like, you kind of want to use it a couple times before you talk about
Sure.
it. I swam with it open water just this morning. I'll try to swim with it again this evening. Biked with it yesterday. Seems to work. Seems to be functional.
Nice.
So, yep.
Doing its job.
Doing its job.
Whitney Phillips, one last thing from you.
Well, the one last thing I got is thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Seriously,
I
that's
mean,
awesome.
to be with these famous guys
world famous.
is unbelievable. So thanks for having me.
I mean, we'll get you an autograph or something like that.
For those wondering, we did not kick Evan off the podcast. He's just he's out hiking with his brother on the Oregon coast. if I'm
But
not mistaken.
Evan, 2 strikes, buddy. You better watch it. You're getting kicked off this podcast, and the next time you just kidding.
Matt's gonna get his belt out. Lance, one last thing.
I don't have anything actually coming to mind that I really need to share. I'm just super happy about the number of people that come up to us when we're in biking situations and say something nice about the podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, I listen to you guys and we love it. We think it's great. So I heard that several times yesterday at the race. And so that's just it's cool.
I got a compliment at the race yesterday as well. So I didn't even catch the gentleman's name. He was asking me a question about something, and it's just a parting like, "Oh, I really enjoy the podcast. Good job." I'm like, "Oh, that makes my day,
really
man. Thank
cool.
you." So very cool. My one last thing is I want to thank my wife for first, congratulate her. She did a big training block this past weekend. She really laid it down. Her fire got lit again to go out and start training hard. And she did a 32-mile bike ride yesterday, and I think that she did a brick off the bike there.
Wow.
Nice.
A little run off the bike, a little OTB. Is that what you guys call it in the triathlon world?
The brick thing is the term that we don't love, but whatever.
But I see OTB, off the bike.
Off the bike. I think it's better. Yeah.
Anyway, she did that, and yesterday was the first time I finally convinced her to wear the dialed kit that I bought her.
I saw a picture of that.
Yeah.
Looked good. Looked really good.
And she's been telling me all along, she's like, I'm just not worthy of wearing that. I don't want people to, look at me and say, why are you wearing that? You're not a racer. I'm like, no, it's not that at all. Like, you're going to go out and you're going to enjoy riding your bike. You're going to wear a kit. You get to tell a story. It's a conversation piece. Plus, you get the opportunity to be an ambassador for us and the things that we're looking to do. And some of the big things that we have targeted is bringing more women into bicycle racing, more women into riding bikes in general, and more juniors. And having another woman out there wearing our kit that can create a conversation piece to get even more women to come out and ride bikes. I think that's fantastic. So I just want to congratulate her on a great training weekend and thank her for actually finally wearing that kit that I bought her like 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, if you let us wear that kit and we're ugly as all get out, then I'm pretty sure she could pull it off. So
yeah, and that kit it's been seen quite a few times rolling around here in the greater Portland area.
Yeah.
It's on more and more backs these days, which is pretty cool. I can't again thank our team for being as cool as they are. It's just such great people, and I thank you. It just makes my whole like plight to do this whole thing even more solidified.
Well, it's amazing to think back when we did the first race with no kits.
Yes.
And what we have
Right.
today.
Yeah, Castelli was late delivering our kits, so we missed the Jack Frost time trial. We were all just wearing our random stuff, and there was 11 people on the team,
Something 11 or 12. Yeah.
and now we're just it's nuts. We have like a 2,000 point lead
Yeah, I
in the
know.
team bar competition.
that was
right
like
now.
one of my potential questions was like, what are our team goals? Because,
Well, there are 3 team goals, and it's to repeat as the bar competition.
I think
and
we're
we
doing
wanted to
okay.
get 100 upgrades for the team this year. And what was the other one? I think it was just increase the number of juniors and women on the team,
the
which
juniors, that's what I was
we're
thinking.
doing. So good stuff. Anything else, guys?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Whitney. Thank you for coming on.
glad to be
appreciate
here.
it. I know it was short notice, and I just wanted to make sure that we had a fun person to fill Evan's seat. Thank
like
you for
it.
that.
Not sure I was fun, but thank you.
Yeah. And to everybody racing at short track tonight, good luck. And there's a big Omnium race coming up this coming weekend for the Oregon Bicycle Racing Association that will entail a road race, a criterium, and a time trial. Good luck to everybody going out to do that. More people need to go out and sign up for that. I know that the numbers are still growing, and usually it's the week of, but the more people we can get out there, the better, because it just makes competition even that much more fierce, and it just brings more people to wanting to race. And Ober's got a lot of fun stuff up their sleeve for the prizes and just the festivities of the races themselves. So get out there and race your bicycle, folks. It's good times. If you get a chance, pop in and say hi to us on social media. We have a Facebook page at Dial Podcast and a social media page on this little thing called Instagram that we seldom post stuff on, but we get on there and post things on there from time to time. Get on there and say hi to us or tag us in cool things that you're doing. If you ever hear anything on the podcast that you want to tag and tell us what you got going on, we'll talk about it. Could be fun. You can email any of us, Jake, Evan, Lance, all of us, Matt as well, at Dial Podcast. Our first name's at dialpodcast.com. You can go to the website, dialpodcast.com, to go and listen to all of the podcasts. If you want to go back and binge, purge, whatever, from number 1, you can do that. I know that on Apple, I'm still not sure why it only goes back 20 episodes. I've tried changing that so that it posts all of them in there. But if you want to catch some of the older ones, you can go to the website. That's just dialpodcast.com, and you can see all of the different ones and pick and choose the ones that you want to listen to. It's good times. And we do appreciate the reviews. A few new reviews came through.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Got a few more 5-star ratings and a couple actual write-ups on us. So thank you for those. We do appreciate it. You guys, thank you for listening. We will see you next week. Bye for now.